No matter what, you can't beat a rocket launcher. Hey guys, Chelsea here, and in this video I'm going to be answering one question. Is the Vaketen Panzerbushel and the M9 Bazooka worth the grind? So basically I'm going to be looking at their stats, compare them to the other anti-tank weapons in the game, and more or less say, answer the question, are they worth it? So first, some history on the weapons. Starting with the bazooka, it was the M9 Bazooka was actually an improvement over the M1 Bazooka, which was used. It was first used in late 43 because the M1 was quite bad at taking out later war German vehicles, and basically the weapon was reported to be very, very unreliable. They were basically seen as more effective than the M1 and later M1A1 bazookas, as they could, and they also used the M6A3 heat rockets, and could even be disassembled quite easily into two halves. Fun fact as well that these were actually capable of dealing some damage, even though the later war armor skirts that the Germans started using were actually effective with defending the tanks against the shaped charges of the bazooka. Another fun fact was that during Operation Nordwind, which was the final, which is basically Battle of the Bulge, an M9 bazooka was even able to destroy a Jagdtiger, which is the heavy tank destroyers that the Germans used in the late war. As for the Vaketen Panzerbushel, its development was more basically based on the bazooka, ironically, the M1 Bazooka, because the Germans ended up capturing the bazookas during the Tunisian campaigns, so around the Battle of Tunisia, ironically, campaign, and basically they saw that it was a good anti-tank weapon, and they basically just developed it, changing it from a 60mm caliber rocket to the famous 88, which was later used, it was also used, of course, in the Vaketenwerfer, which is pretty similar to the Vaketen Panzerbushel, only more of an anti-tank weapon. Later, of course, the project for the Vaketen Panzerbushel would end up becoming the famous Panzerschreck, which was designated as Vaketen Panzerbushel 54. But of course, it is the Panzerschreck. The name which is at the end of the in game, actually the German word for stovepipe, which pretty much, as you can tell, it was the copy of the bazooka, and a really good one at that. So with the history of these already out the way, how were these weapons used in the game? How are they used in the game? Both the M9 Bazooka and the Vaketen Panzerbushel are, of course, unlocked at level 37 alongside the AT Gunner 2 squads in the Normandy campaign. In terms of stats, the M9 Bazooka has a 30 caliber warhead which has 18 explosive power. It can do 48 shots a minute, has a reload time of 2.8, 50-50 recoil, and of course a single fire rocket. The Vaketen has an 88mm caliber rocket with, again, the same hit power of 18, a longer reload time, however, of 3.1. So let's start comparing the stats between the things. I'm going to start with the M9 Bazooka first. Now, the M9, of course, has to compete with both the M1 Bazooka and the Piat. Now, of course, it's much better than the M1 Bazooka. The M1 Bazooka is probably the worst anti-tank weapon in Normandy, so it's already better than the M1. But how does it compare with the Piat? Well, the Piat is kind of interesting, actually. It's got a better reload than the Piat, and I think it's pretty much better in terms of post-pen than the Piat. And because with the Piat, you hit a thing and it does a small scatter in a certain area. However, with the M9, it's kind of more like it just does a lot more more, spread out. So I reckon the M9 is still incredible. Both are pretty much good for taking out vehicles, but I think it's really do you want the cheaper Piat or the better but more expensive M9? Overall, I'd say both are really good, but I would probably give it to the M9 in terms of overall stats. If they were both 1 silver or 3 silvers, the M9 would definitely be much better would be much more viable than the Piat. For the Vaketten, however, it's a little bit interesting. Now, the Vaketten, it's great, and of course you get the unique gas mask with it, but here's the problem. The Faust is also great. In fact, the Faust is almost identical to it. Really, the only thing is that the Faust has a slightly longer reload time, but to make up for this, it kind of has. You can actually run a lot faster with the Faust, because with the Vaketten and also the M9, you can't actually run with them. So the Faust kind of has that going for it. I mean, obviously the Sturm Pistol is as good as the Sturm Pistol is. It's just not as good as the either the Faust or the Vaketten. So really, it's kind of which one do you prefer? The Faust is a little bit better in my opinion. It's better for basically just popping out and hitting the tank, whereas the Vaketten is much better for longer range. So yeah, honestly, it's kind of, this one's a lot more of the, it kind of really depends on your playstyle. Like if you like longer range anti-tank combat, then the Vaketten is better, but if you like closer range anti-tank warfare, it's probably better to stick with the Faust. That being said, I do really like the Vaketten, and there's one element the Vaketten and the M9 actually excels at in comparison to the other anti-tank weapons, and that is actually being usable as an anti-infantry weapon. And basically, I've gotten many kills with the Vaketten and the M9 just by firing it randomly at people and just nailing them with the Vaketten or the M9. In fact, we were playing yesterday as a recording. Yes, as a recording, it'll be a couple of days afterwards in the edit. But basically, me and Tony were on airfield. He was about to walk into into the hangar, and I fired the Vaketten in, and some guy and an American walked out and immediately took the Vaketten to the face, and it was just one of the funniest things. Tony was just laughing his head off. It was honestly really good. But yeah, the Vaketten, I honestly will have to say, both of them are worth it, but I would say only really the M9. The M9 is a direct upgrade to the Piat, whereas this is kind of a side grade to the Faust. So while yeah, they're both incredible anti-tank weapons, I'm gonna have to say that yeah, the M9 is worth the grind, but the Vaketten, it's worth it if you like mid-ranged, if you like to use tank, anti-tank, at mid-range, and if you like just memeing around and killing infantry with it, kind of like the Panzerbushel, and the early anti-tank rifles in Moscow. Anyways, I'm going to end this video here. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Join the Discord if you want to see, some more stuff. If you even want to leave some suggestions as well, since this was a community suggestion. And yeah, I am planning on uploading a few more videos. I've got some more videos in the works. So yeah, join Discord if you want to see some more of that. If you want to leave some more suggestions, like for example that poll, that tier list was actually a suggestion from, ironically, Major McDonald on my Discord. Anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Leave your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one.